is Code 8. Code 8. It is like an X-Men ripoff. It's pretty much what it is, an X-Men ripoff. It's on Netflix. Stars Stephen Amell, the Green Arrow, and his younger brother Robbie. Let me see. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me send out the notification because obviously YouTube won't do this job. This one. Is it this one? This one? Okay, there we go. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Almost done. Almost done. Pow. Share. Copy. Okay. Code 8. Basically, like I said, it is an X-Man ripoff. So let's get into it, shall we? So in this universe, humans with superpowers are called the powered. They're called powered. In the beginning, society has them use them for as laborers to help build Lincoln City. They do jobs like manufacturing, firefighting, law enforcement, medical work. But the economy moved into automation. Okay, the economy moved to automation, thus limiting the use of the powered individuals. They were deemed non-essential. Listen to these terms that they use. This movie's been out for a good while, long before the Corona thing. Okay, so then the powereds are all laid off by the hundreds of thousands. Powereds become homeless or become criminals. The government wants powereds to register their abilities, like the Mutant Registry Act in X-Men. Okay, like I said, it's a ripoff. There's a new street drug called Psych. It derives from the spinal fluid, is the main ingredient. It comes from the spinal fluid of the powereds. So if you have super abilities, you can either sign up or get harvested for your spinal fluid, and people can use it as a drug. The police drones have been implemented. The people want a national powered registry. There's a device called an EVA that uses telekinesis to power your home. There's an outrage against the technology. All right. The Guardians program launches robotic officers. Powereds need a permit to use their powers. Iron 5 said they could have kept this movie. I know, bro, but it was watchable. I just wanted to see where it went. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see where it went. Connor's mom is named Mary. There's no father. I say again, Connor's mom is named Mary. There's no father. She's a powered. She's beginning to deteriorate. She's fallen ill to her illness, her sickness. Her powers are basically contaminating her body. Connor, our star, the protagonist, has a job interview. On the application, it asks, "Are you powered enabled? Yes or no?" There's anti-powered propaganda being played on the radio. Connor stops at a construction site to make extra money. Connor has pyro abilities and telekinesis. Well, he's mainly his main power is electricity. He's like a class 5 electric. They're on the work sites. Other powereds are working. Some have pyro abilities, telekinesis, super strength. The police drone shows up. Somebody reported the use of powereds using their ability. So in this universe, if people see super powered individuals using their powers, they call the cops. I can't tell you how eerily foreboding this movie is or was 6 months prior to when I watched, not even 6, 3 months prior to when I watched it. Okay. It's crazy. The cops show up. They're lined up. Okay. They're lined up for facial recognition. One of the Powards has a warrant. The perp attempts to flee custody and is gunned down by the robotic officers. So there's a drone up top. And from the top, they look down and scan everybody's face. One of the guys pops up as a warrant. He uses his fire and blinds the one particular cop. Starts to run, and these robotic drones descend down from the drone. They're robotic officers, and they gun the dude down. Yeah, they gunned him down. So the power workers are then kicked off the site for using powers without a permit. Lincoln City Police Department goes on a psych run. Okay. They apprehend a power and discover a psych farm. So you know how a drug raid for coke, crack, weed, whatever. So they do these psych raids. They discover a bunch of fully powards all being hooked to IVs, being tapped for their spinal fluid. So imagine walking into a blood bank. This is what the scene that you have here, okay? The symbols on the psych bag is a 3-pointed prong with an eye in the middle. The confiscated psych is then incinerated. Mary, Connor's mother, has another episode at work. She's losing control of her powers. She has freezing abilities. Mary is then fired after a verbal altercation with her boss between Connor and her manager. Mary is upset with Connor for flashing his powers. Connor tells Mary she needs treatment, but she can't afford it. Hence why Connor will go into a life of crime. Mary then tells Connor to quit acting like his father. Next day, psych runners recruit Connor for illegal work. Now, this is where Stephen, Robbie's brother, shows up. Okay, so Connor short circuits a 10,000 volt electric fence. They discover by security. They lock him up in a dumpster, and then they steal chemicals. Connor meets Marcus Sutcliffe. Marcus is also a Poward. Okay, Sutcliffe runs the gang. He runs the whole thing. Marcus runs psych farms, but he's losing money because of the police raids. He has 1 week to pay his debts off. All right. Marcus has empathic abilities, but his health is deteriorating. Marcus tells the recruiter to work on Connor for another big gig. So then Mary tells Connor she got her job back. The cops begin searching for Powards with electric abilities strong enough to handle 10,000 volts. Okay. Garrett, played by Steven, and Connor begin to form a bond. Garrett has telekinetic powers. Connor's dad was an electric that was killed trying to rob a liquor store. So he got his powers from his daddy. Garrett teaches Connor to hone and his powers. He's a class 5 electric, pretty much top of the scale in their universe as far as power scale rankings. Okay. Garrett uses Connor as muscle to collect debts while prepping him for the big bank heist. Garrett and Connor begin to case the bank. Connor confronts Mary's manager again. Garrett's crew robs the bank. The bank vault has been cleared earlier that day. They're confronted by a driver, but Connor hits it with they're confronted with a drone. They're confronted by a drone. Connor hits with an electrical bolt and sends it crashing to the ground. They escape with only 50 grand. Garrett and Marcus get into an argument. A Poward attempts to kill Marcus. Connor helps to thwart the attack. Connor discovers that Naya has healing abilities. Naya is the one that heals Marcus. Okay, that's her ability. Is she takes on whatever injuries you have onto her. Okay, onto herself. She's hooked on psych and owes a debt to Marcus. Mary discovers Connor's secret stash of money. Okay. Mary then passes out. There's a tumor pressing on her brain against the skull. Connor is then brought in for questioning. Park, played by Sung Kang Han from Fast and Furious, wants to plant drugs on Connor for an illegal conviction. The next day, Connor and Garrett meet with Marcus. They plan to hit the psych run. So all that psych the cops raided a couple days prior, they're going to go hit the stash. Okay. Connor wants Nia in exchange for Marcus, and Garrett wants a 50-50 partnership with Marcus. Connor wants Nia to heal his mom. They hit the armored truck. Code 8 is called in. So Code 8 is when a bunch of powers attack police vehicles, or whatever the case may be, okay? Garrett and Connor are double crossed by Marcus. The psych is returned to Marcus. Nia discovers he double crossed Connor and Garrett. Nia's dad owed Marcus a debt. That's how she's in cahoots with Marcus, okay? Connor blames Garrett for being greedy. Connor visits his mother in the hospital. Parker goes to pick one of the cops, goes to pick up his daughter. She's also a power. So he's been hiding a secret that his daughter is special. Connor sets up a meeting with Park. The cops stake out Marcus's place. The cops storm the place. Marcus takes off. Garrett and Connor shoot and kill Marcus and his bodyguards in the garage. Nia isn't able to heal Connor's mom because Nia takes on the afflictions of the person she's healing. Nia says it could kill her. Connor still takes Nia to see his mom at the hospital. Okay. Connor demands she saves his mom. So Connor, and then as Nia is beginning the process to take on Mary's affliction, it is killing Nia in the process. Connor sees this. He stops Nia from doing it. Mary dies. Connor lets Nia go. Moving forward, the city pushes forth on the power ban. So it's just like a national registry mutant thing. So it's called a power ban. So no one's going to use powers for anything at this point. Park and his partner get medals for bravery. Garrett meets with Marcus's Connect to supply psych. And then Nia visits her dad in prison. She's now clean and sober. Nia is mixed. Her daddy is black. And that's Code 8, Netflix. The only reason I would tell y'all to go watch this movie is because all of the premonitions, all of the terms and lingo and the scenarios shown in that movie it's dead on what's going on right now. Dead to rights. Creepy as hell. Because we all know what predictive programming looks like. This is exactly what this is. Okay, so that was Code 8 Netflix. All right.